What does it take for an aircraft to disappear around you at 45,000 feet? From the outside, executive aviation can appear almost understated, a sleek fuselage resting quietly on a private apron, engines covered, stairs lowered, no cues, no gate announcements, no visible spectacle. But step inside and you begin to understand that what looks simple on the ramp is, in fact, one of the most meticulously engineered environments in modern travel. The golden standard of executive aviation is not defined by gold finishes or excess. It is defined by control of sound, of light, of pressure, of time itself. The first sensation is acoustic. As the cabin door seals, the outside world dissolves into layered insulation, precision seals, and vibration-dampening structures designed to turn powerful turbofan engines into a distant, disciplined hum. There is thrust outside, but inside there is calm. Over the last decade, designers and aerospace engineers have converged on a shared understanding: true luxury at altitude is physiological before it is visual. Cabin altitude is kept lower than traditional commercial norms, humidity carefully managed, airflow engineered to feel present but never intrusive. You don't notice the air, and that is the point. Your breathing slows. Your shoulders settle. Even before takeoff, the aircraft has begun to do its quiet work. Taxi feels deliberate, almost ceremonial, because there is no rush behind you and no congestion ahead. When thrust advances and the runway blurs into abstraction, the climb is confident but unhurried. The golden standard is not about dramatic acceleration, it is about smooth intention. Advanced flight control systems soften turbulence before it becomes disruptive, and subtle wing designs absorb instability with a grace that feels almost anticipatory. You remain aware that you are moving through complex air currents at extraordinary speeds, yet the cabin behaves as though it exists in its own climate, insulated from drama. As altitude increases, lighting shifts almost imperceptibly. Warm ambient tones trace the contours of the ceiling, indirect LEDs washing the cabin in hues calibrated to support circadian balance. This is not decorative lighting, it is architectural psychology. Morning departures glow gently in cool clarity, while transoceanic night crossings transition toward deeper, restorative tones. Even the reflections on brushed metal surfaces are considered, diffused to avoid glare, sharpened just enough to preserve texture. Seating, too, is engineered restraint. At first glance, it appears like a wide leather chair, hand-stitched, proportioned generously, but beneath the surface lies a layered system of support calibrated to distribute weight across hours of flight. The ergonomics are designed for both conversation and solitude. In executive aviation, seats are not aligned for maximum capacity, they are arranged for social flow. Face-to-face configurations encourage dialogue, while divans and fully berthing layouts invite retreat. The aisle is not a corridor, it is a gallery of intentional space. Veneers are selected not for flamboyance but for grain consistency and thermal stability. Textiles are chosen for acoustic absorption as much as aesthetic harmony. Every material performs. Even the windows participate in the choreography. Larger than typical commercial apertures, they invite horizon lines into the cabin, reminding you of altitude without overwhelming you with exposure. Sunlight is filtered through multilayer shades that soften intensity into a golden wash, transforming midday glare into something almost cinematic. At cruise, somewhere above weather systems and commercial traffic lanes, the aircraft finds its rhythm. Service on board mirrors that rhythm. There are no carts, no public address interruptions. The cadence is quiet and intuitive. A meal is plated on solid surfaces rather than trays, glassware chosen for balance at altitude, table settings stabilized by subtle design features you never consciously notice. Even sound systems are tuned to the cabin's acoustic profile, allowing music or film to exist in crisp clarity without forcing volume. The result is not extravagance, it is coherence. Executive aviation at its highest level is a study in friction reduction. Private terminals eliminate the ritual of waiting. Boarding happens when you arrive. Luggage appears exactly where you expect it. The schedule bends around the passenger, not the reverse. But beyond convenience lies something more refined: predictability. The golden standard ensures that departure times, cabin preparation, and route planning align with a client's internal clock. Long-haul sectors become less about endurance and more about continuity. You can hold a meeting at altitude without raising your voice. You can rest without being jolted awake by abrupt announcements. You can land and step directly into the next chapter of your day without recalibrating your senses. Even the cockpit participates in this orchestration. Modern avionics provide pilots with real-time weather mapping, route optimization, and performance analytics that smooth not only the physical ride but the entire operational envelope. Precision approaches into challenging airports feel composed because they are backed by layered redundancies and training philosophies that prioritize stability above spectacle. The aircraft becomes an ecosystem of quiet competence. And yet, none of this is meant to be obvious. That is the paradox. The golden standard is measured by how little you think about the aircraft at all. If you are discussing business, you remain focused. If you are resting, you drift without interruption. If you are simply looking out at a fading horizon over the Atlantic or the American Midwest, the cabin frames that view without demanding attention. Over time, a subtle narrative emerges. The passenger who once equated luxury with visible opulence begins to recognize a deeper currency: consistency. The lighting behaves as expected. The air feels balanced. The seat supports rather than competes. Even the scent of the cabin, neutral, faintly fresh, never perfumed, reflects a philosophy of restraint. It is engineered invisibility. From the outside, a business jet may look like a symbol of status, but inside it is a laboratory of comfort science. Engineers model airflow patterns to avoid drafts. Designers test decibel levels at different cruise speeds. Craftspeople stitch leather with tolerances that account for cabin pressure cycles. The result is not an interior that shouts for attention, it is one that absorbs it. As descent begins, the aircraft transitions almost imperceptibly. Lighting adjusts to prepare the body for arrival. Pressurization changes are moderated to reduce fatigue. The runway appears not as a jarring return to gravity, but as a gentle reintroduction. Wheels touch down with the kind of precision that feels rehearsed, because it is. Taxi is short. Doors open quickly. And within moments, the cocoon dissolves back into the world. What lingers is not the memory of speed or altitude, but of effortlessness. The golden standard of executive aviation is not about escaping reality. It is about refining it. It is about creating an environment where complexity is managed so completely that it becomes invisible. In a world increasingly defined by noise and acceleration, this form of travel offers something counterintuitive: stillness at high velocity. And perhaps that is why it endures. Because comfort is engineered, not accidental. Luxury is quiet. The best flights are the ones you barely notice. And if this perspective reshapes how you see the sky, Comfort Class will be here to explore the next horizon with you.